Well, it looks like the arrests are just starting, and soon they could become international. Yep, as that's what some people are saying is soon going to be happening to the Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, as the United States has moved a significant military force into the coast of Venezuela, as the Venezuelans are now trying to mobilize over 4 million militants, as we have some very interesting kind of arguments from Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes about this. Nick Fuentes disagreeing with this kind of foreign policy, American maximum pressure, quote, imperialistic maneuver, and then saying, well, then I kind of agree with it. As Alex Jones even came out, says, I agree with it, as I want to play you some of their arguments, as it looks like we are encroaching very closely towards a conflict in Latin America under the Trump administration. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? We're going to be discussing it as honestly as we can here on this independent media broadcast. And if you appreciate these type of very hard and difficult conversations, subscribe. Click the notification button, as of course these topics are not easy to talk about. We work very hard and diligently making sure that we give you all of the information that you need to inform yourself on this as best as you can. Now, let's just get right into it. As CBS News is reporting, U.S. warships to sail off Venezuela's as tension soars between Trump and Maduro, as, quote, the regime over cartel accusations. Now, is this really over the cartels, or is this really about the natural resources that Venezuela has, as Venezuela has a lot of energy resources? We'll get into that in a little bit. It's pretty crazy. They're one of the most energy resource-rich country in the world. And for some reason, they are still one of the most poverty-stricken countries in the world. That's socialism for you, as Times is reporting that 4,000 troops and 4.5 million militiamen are now being mobilized as they write what to know about the U.S.-Venezuelan standoff, as the United States just a few days ago increased the reward for Nicolas Maduro to now $50 million, as the United States has doubled the reward for information leading to the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Now, Nicolas Maduro is very closely aligned with the Russians, with the Chinese, with the Iranians, and clearly this Trump administration has been acting very aggressively, specifically against Iran. Russia, it goes back and forth, but the latest type of messaging by Trump on Truth Social saying, hey, now it's time for Ukraine to be on the offense, essentially saying that in his Truth Social post, when they already have, in my opinion, signals that there's going to be only bigger escalations here, more proxy wars. As, listen, if the war, this is what I always said, there always needs to be a war for the deep state and intelligentsia to run their drug and human trafficking and birthing baby operations. Lots of crazy stuff. I explained that in other videos. Afghanistan ended, Ukraine started. If Ukraine ends, I was saying it's almost a guarantee that there's going to be a conflict in the Middle East. But now in hindsight, seeing at all the military movements and seeing at this kind of buildup here, of significant military forces and troops now, and the United States now doubling the reward, offering a lot of money to what they accuse to be one of the largest narco-traffickers in the world. I don't know if they've ever heard of the CIA. One of the largest narco-traffickers in the world. If Donald Trump really wants to stop the largest narco-traffickers of the world, he would untangle the web that is Iran-Contra. He would untangle the web of poppy seeds and who was growing them and who was protecting them in Afghanistan. He would pull the strings on a lot of the international trade of drugs. And some people say he's doing that with China. Now it's coming in through Canada. Lots of really kind of weird stuff happening in that particular realm here. But a lot of people say that we are back in the type of opium war type of conflict, just like the Western nations waged on China. Now, allegedly, China is waging it on us. And Venezuela is a big proxy. It's a big ally to Russia, China, and Iran here, as they are representing a lot of the countries going up against the U.S. dollar. representing a lot of the BRICS nations as well here. And Venezuela is very close to the United States border. Now, Putin and Maduro, as we learned from American Quarterly, are the perfect harmony tests as Moscow and Caracas are strengthening their ties, especially when it comes to ammunition production and, quote, rewriting the American playbook. If you look at China's involvement in Latin America, it is vast. It is big. It is major. Now, Russian oil production in Venezuela reached also record highs here. It's crazy how the Venezuelans just have so much wild energy. Now, the U.S. State Department doing this, I don't think is a coincidence. I don't think it's an accident, especially with the major military movement there, as we have now the USS Gravel, USS Iwo Jima, USS Samson, major submarines, USS San Antonio, USS Fort Lauderdale, USS Jason Dunham, right off the coast of Venezuela. Now, this is big, major moves here as the Venezuelan Special Forces, along with all of their Chinese-provided military hardware, are now mobilizing and doing drills right now, practicing for a potential invasion or attack, or some people say targeted, limited strikes, which are on the table, which, listen, are being discussed with the President of the United States right now, who's considering them seriously. Now, before we play the clips of Nick and Alex, specifically talking about this very important issue, we wanted, before doing all that, to remind you to sign up to LukeUnfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you doing? It's quick, it's easy, it's simple, and it means the world to us. We are doing a range day, September 20th here in South Florida. There's only 10 spots that are available. Sign up for your spots now. Some spots have already filled. Once they're filled, no more people will be able to join us. We're doing a range day with some of the best instructors in all of Florida, where we will teach you some really advanced, really fun stuff. It is a great day that we already did 2 times before. It's a super enjoyable, fun, awesome, incredible program that we're going to be running here. One of the many things we do for members of LukeUnfiltered.com. 3 master classes, 13 plus years of videos of exclusive content. I'm going to start shooting more content just for you guys. And, of course, a way to talk to me one-on-one directly through the Telegram chat. I was just in there earlier. I'm like, what did I miss? I've been super busy, and now I have to reprogram my other computer. It's a lot of work. Your support needed now more than ever, and I am very, very grateful for all of your generosity throughout the years. And it humbles me, and it means the world to me. LukeUnfiltered.com. Link is down in the description below. Check your spam for login credentials. Now, let's get back into this conversation as we have the president of Venezuela bringing up all of the kind of partnerships he has with other left-wing or governments inside of Latin America, left-wing governments that are propelled by Joe Biden's State Department that actually helped propel them in that position of power. And those Latin American left-wing governments that Biden and his State Department helped prop up are also very closely aligned with Xi Jinping. And there's a reason Maduro called Xi Jinping the older brother for all these leftist liberal countries. Now, the White House spokesperson had some very interesting comments about the 4,000 Marines on their way to Venezuela as, quote, Trump is not ruling out boots on the ground here.
3 U.S. warships that are being sent to Venezuela, and there's 4,000 Marines on board. Are you looking at possibility of boots on the ground there?
What I will say with respect to Venezuela, President Trump has been very clear and consistent. He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice.
Now, is this really about drugs? No, I don't think it is. Let's just be honest with ourselves. You want to stop drugs? A lot of drugs coming in out of Colombia, but there's a lot of Colombian mercenaries now volunteering for the Ukrainian military. And a lot of Mexican members of criminal gangs and organizations also volunteering for the Ukrainian military, learning all of the stuff and then coming back to Latin America and then implementing all the things that they learned, as well as their kind of connections with the Ukrainians in order to help out their kind of entrepreneurial endeavors here in Latin America. Now, is Venezuela responsible for drug trade? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at any kind of like dictatorship or any kind of Latin American government, a lot a lot of what they're doing circles around this illegal, illicit war on drugs, which to me is stupid, which drugs have won officially. Now, let's play the rest of these comments here because I think they're important.
The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel. In Maduro, it is the view of this administration, is not a legitimate president. He is a fugitive head of this cartel who has been indicted in the United States for trafficking drugs into the country. And with that, I will leave you all, and we will see you later, if not tomorrow. And I look forward to taking more of your questions. Thank you.
Now, the American people won't buy, oh, it's for drugs. No, everyone's like, it's oil. A lot of people are like, what happened to no new wars? And Alex Jones is for this type of conflict, oddly enough. We'll play his clip here in a little bit. But in 2024, Trump flat out admitted he wants Venezuela to collapse so he could take their oil. Now there's 4,000 troops and a bunch of warships, allegedly because of the drugs. And again, it's not about the drugs, it's about the oil. You look at countries with the largest proven oil reserves, Venezuela is the biggest country in the world. America having access or a regime or a proxy state that is favorable towards them in Latin America would change the geopolitical landscape for America just as much, if not more, than Greenland would. And I think Trump's looking at how do we promote and promote this kind of American empire. As Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum denounced U.S. interventionism in Venezuela, so did Nick Fuentes in this particular video. And then later he was like, yeah, I'm kind of for it. Yeah, it's okay. I'm like, wait, what? Here's what he had said originally.
See this everywhere. We are currently pursuing regime change in Venezuela. But they're dressing it up like we're fighting narco-terrorism.
Yeah, you're fighting narco-terrorism. You go after the CIA.
So this is John Bolton's Venezuela policy. But if we say we're fighting drugs, then we could say it's America first. We're bombing Iran. We're bombing Yemen. We're bombing the Middle East. This is what every administration has done. But this time we're saying this is about nuclear proliferation. And Trump always said we were going to prevent Iran from getting the bomb. Same policy, America first branding.
This is previously he was talking about his disappointment with Trump rearming Ukraine and saying that he, of course, won't do that. And then he was a critic. And then he recently said this. And I'm like, wait, what?
I actually probably favor regime change in Venezuela, to be honest. I think that is a perfectly legitimate strategic goal of the United States. You know, we talk all the time about Israel and the war over there, and those are wars that don't benefit the United States. I actually think it would be beneficial if we had a pro-American regime in Venezuela. Probably would be good for us.
Listen, there's no denying that. I was just talking about that without any kind of coincidence. But according to Alex Jones, the plans are going forward, and this attack will be happening in one way or another, whether it's targeted limited strikes, which Alex Jones said he's for too. Now, listen, I've been to Venezuela. I traveled there during the collapse. It was extremely dangerous. I felt extremely bad for the people there. Maduro, who's eating empanadas, as he's describing the crisis that his country is dealing with, especially when it comes to hunger. All of the price controls, all of the stuff that they did there, all this leftist, liberal, kind of woke socialism stuff, which is just absolutely insane, was infuriating. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of government, but when we're acting like we're the regime change police, and we're not doing it in an honest way, I just hate that. I don't like being lied to. I don't like being told, no, it's the drugs. No, okay, really? Come on. Let's just be honest. Can we just be level here with us for a little bit? And I think if Donald Trump was actually level and he made his argument saying, no, listen, man, like, if we really want to unwind this, you unwind all the U.S. aid money that went to all these leftist governments in Latin America. All right? Latin America, overwhelmingly leftist. Javier Milei, one of the few people. You follow the Javier Milei and you incentivize those people. That's how you change Venezuela. Now, some people say Venezuela's a dictatorship and never will change. I get it. And it is. And I don't like Venezuela. I don't like leftism. I don't like socialism. But by targeting and attacking it, you kind of legitimize it in their eyes, and then they have the perfect excuse. As, of course, I would say Venezuela is a perfect byproduct of failed American foreign policy and sanctions that have created a situation that has led us down this pathway that is absolutely demonstrably horrible. But because Maduro has an excuse of saying, look, they're attacking me. That's how he gets some of his legitimacy. And that's how he got some of his legitimacy to stay in power. Now, I hope, personally, Maduro is not in power. How we go about it, I think, matters. Matters, especially for all the other kind of countries in Latin America, the future of American and Latin American relationships. And I think we need to do this in a way where it's kind of ethical. Alex has his own type of point of view here on this, which I respectfully disagree with.
Now, I don't like any of these wars, not Gulf One, not Gulf Two, not Afghanistan, all of it. I've been against all these wars, Ukraine war, all of it. But if you look at U.S. doctrine and wars that we fought before that were right, it's in Latin America. This is our sandbox. And Venezuela is a communist dictatorship with the biggest oil reserves per square foot in the world. Their people are absolute slaves. And I don't like regime change, but they are manipulating our elections. They are flooding us with fentanyl. And if there were surgical strikes...
Now, I don't know about the Venezuelans manipulating our elections. As far as fentanyl, I know cocaine is one of the ways that they're getting in a lot of the stuff here. Some people accuse the Venezuelans of working with the Chinese and doing the fentanyl. Yeah, I agree. But now it's all coming in predominantly through Canada, a lot of it. And that's why Trump put a lot of pressures on Canada to close their borders. And they finally acquiesced and said, okay, yeah, we'll do that.
To take out the communists, there'd be an uprising and they could have elections and it would be a good thing. So I'm not one to ever push offensive stuff, but they started it, so it's really defense. So I'll say it. I am for removing the Venezuelan dictatorship. But by the extension...
I'm all for having them removed, but going through about it in a warlike way, I just disagree with.
The cartels back down and have basically slashed fentanyl production 90+%. I mean, they're killing their own people that do it. That's well known. And even in mainstream news. So
and that's why Donald Trump saw this as a very important initiative and launched this important initiative that has stopped a lot of the drugs being imported here.
It's kind of like Trump. I'm going to come get you in Mexico now because of what you did before. And the CIA was basically allowing all that, running a lot of it. Under Obama and then under Trump's nose, and then with Biden it got worse. So by that extension, I mean, for those who don't know, Trudeau allows the use of it. It's decriminalized, and they turned a blind eye to its production. Most of it comes out of Canada now. That's on record. So yeah, do we have a right to go blow up the cartels? Yeah.
Are we blowing up the cartels though, or are we regime changing someone because of their oil? I think it's the oil. I don't think it's the drugs. I think the drugs are a part of it, but again, not the only place, but one of the main places specifically because of this Chinese Venezuelan kind of connection.
But they rolled over basically. Venezuela is the 800-pound gorilla. And so, whether you're for it or not, it's about to happen, in my view. And that's why you see Maduro trying to kiss ass.
Now, with the way it happens, there's an interesting way to see how it will kind of transpire. Because the United States has already done sanctions. Sanctions, overwhelmingly, don't really do anything. They kind of embolden the leaders, just like we saw in Russia, just like we saw in Iran, just like we saw in Cuba. And again, now, this kind of amphibious squadron deployed in the Southern Caribbean, I think it's there to catch all the drug traffickers. Okay, I get it. Cool. But if you want to catch the drug traffickers, again, you go after the CIA that's been doing it for an extremely long time here. Now, with these U.S. warships and this type of huge military presence, they're going to be stopping boats coming in and out of Venezuela that they say are pretty much coming in and out of all of the Caribbean islands. And then from the Caribbean islands, a lot of the kind of drugs kind of move into the United States. Now, Maduro deploying 4.5 million militant members. I mean, there's considerations about boots on the ground. I don't see that. I see maybe potentially limited strikes. I see potentially assassination attempts. I see a lot of economic pressure. I see a lot of embargoes. But again, Maduro's going to be going to his people and saying, look, they're going after the bus driver that I am. Look, I'm the victim. And now Maduro is threatening Donald Trump, calling him an imperialist, and says he could be the end of the American empire. Now, that kind of rhetoric doesn't help anybody here. That's because he was seen with members of his military. They're all clapping him and his kind of announcements here. What will kind of happen here? I know a lot of people that are anti-communist are like, yes, needs to happen. I can understand those arguments. I can understand that argument that Alex Jones is making. I would say that domestically, internally, I think we still have a lot more things to take care of ourselves in this country, and I think that should be the priority over foreign endeavors for oil and resources. That's just my opinion. If you think I'm wrong, let me know why. This is a very complicated debate here. This is a very kind of nuanced conversation, and your input definitely appreciated more than ever. Thank you so much for signing up to lookunfiltered.com. Beautiful and amazing human beings. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.